Next is going to be Senator DeWine, and after Senator DeWine has asked his questions, I'm going to call for a 5-minute recess. Senator DeWine.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Hayden, I thought the discussion that you had with Congressman Goss in regard to your powers or lack of powers in regard to the snipers was very instructive. And it is, as you point out in your testimony, the type of discussion that we should be having. You say in your testimony, and I'll quote, "I'm not really helped by being reminded that I need more Arabic linguists or by someone second-guessing obscure intercepts sitting in our files that may make more sense today than it did 2 years ago. What I really need you to do is to talk to your constituents and find out where the American people want that line between security and liberty to be." I don't disagree with that statement, but I think I would take it a little further. I think that we as a Congress, specifically this committee, these committees, have an obligation to do that, but I also think you have an obligation to do that. We write the laws. You or your lawyers then interpret them. And you issue very long regulations. And I won't bore anybody by reading some of these regulations, but they're long. And they're extensive. And then you take that down and you take those lawyer-created regulations or rules and you take them down and with the manuals down to the people in the field who have to actually make these decisions every single day. And so I think you have an obligation, candidly, to come back to us and to say, Senator, do you really want to do this? Do you understand what we're not doing? Do you understand who we can't target? Do you understand what information we can't get? And I think that you have an obligation to do that as often as you can. Now, I will say that your comment that you made in public testimony about bin Laden crossing the border between Canada and the United States, well, you did that. And I think you're right. You apparently didn't hear much complaint from Congress. So I will certainly give you that. But I would just say that I think we all have an obligation to do that. As I've discussed with you and as I've discussed with some of your team, I'm not sure you're totally interpreting the law correctly. But that's something that we should be going back and forth on and being discussed and discuss. And so I would just make that comment. Mr. Mueller, let me just, you made a comment in regard to continuing resolutions and the problem connected with that. You say a long-term, my emphasis, but I think it's what you meant, a long-term continuing resolution could have a significant impact on our analytical program. And let me ask all three of you if you could comment about the consequences of long-term continuing resolutions, particularly this year, but any time that you might get one, what it might entail. And we will assume that means basically flat funding.
Sure, I'll go first, Senator.
I think that's something we need to know and we need to get out.
Well, fundamentally, with this continuing resolution, we're prohibited from having new starts. And I've tried to emphasize in my testimony, this is all about newness. This is all about transformation. This is all about chasing a global telecommunications revolution. To put us through some portion of the next fiscal year without any new starts, without any ability to pivot left or right, but just to continue straight ahead, that penalizes.
Thank you.
I agree,
Director.
I agree with Director Hayden.
And also the delay in bringing on additional analysts, as I pointed out, additional agents, and for us also support personnel. Those delays mean it'll be that much longer before we get those individuals on board that we need to get the job done.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.